Welcome back. Now, to put it gently, Freemasonry is not exactly renowned for openness and transparency. Quite the opposite, in fact, with a public image defined by secret handshakes and passwords, although whether that's been true during the pandemic is open to question. But the organisation itself says that its defining purpose is charity, and it's publishing its first ever annual report. Well, let's get more now and speak to the Chief Executive of the United Grand Lodge of England, Dr. David Staples. Morning to you, Dr. Staples. 300 years without publishing a report. I mean, no one can say you've rushed into this.
That's true. I think it's fair to say we've been on a journey for the last few years, inviting the public into the world of the Freemasons. And this annual report, as you say, the first in 303 years, demonstrates our commitment to that.
And so why have you seen the need to do this? This is all about enhancing transparency around the organisation.
It is, yeah. For decades, really, we didn't say terribly much about who we were and what we did, and we've suffered from it. People would make up all sorts of nonsense, and we never really responded. And I think that's changed. And as we tell our story, which is an absolutely great story to tell, the public have decided that they rather like what they see. So, for example, over the last 18 months, our net approval has gone up by 25 points, and we've moved from a position when 1 in 10 people would consider joining us to 1 in 4. And that shows that we're getting something right. We've not fundamentally changed as an organisation. We have the same core values that we did many, many years ago: integrity, respect, friendship and charity. They're the key values. But it's time we stopped hiding our light under a bushel and started showing people who we are and what we do.
I guess it kind of begs the question why you didn't start talking about what you do more openly a while ago.
Well, I think we did. Certainly before the Second World War, it would have been entirely normal to have Freemasons out in public, laying cornerstones to some of the big civic buildings that you see around London and around the rest of the world. We would be there up and down the high streets with our banners. But Hitler persecuted Freemasons, and he looked as if he was going to invade England. And the organisation thought it wasn't terribly sensible to be quite as open. And after the war, for whatever reason, we simply never got back to where we were. But that's definitely changing now. I mean, if you look at what we've done over the last year or so, 300,000 meals cooked for the needy, 1,000 tablets donated to hospitals so that people could keep in touch when they weren't able to actually visit. This isn't new stuff. We've been doing this for 3 centuries, but it's time that the public, understood who we are and what we're actually about.
How would you define the difference between the Freemasons and, say, the Lions Club or the Rotary Club?
Well, we're a unique members organisation, and we've thrived for over 3 centuries. We've got no political or religious affiliations, and we comprise members of all ages, all races, religions, cultures and backgrounds. And we gather in our individual lodges up and down the country, where we have ceremonial traditions which encourage us to be both more tolerant and more respectful, but most importantly, to actively fulfil our civic and charitable responsibilities. But we also have a huge amount of fun. We make time to eat, drink and meet together, and we form lifelong friendships.
Now, you've just founded a lodge for the under-35s. You're clearly trying to attract young members in. Do you worry that some of them might be put off by all the regalia and ceremonies?
No, I think that's something which makes us particularly unique. Actually, if we look at some of the polling that we've done, the under 35s are the people who actually like us more than anybody else. I think there's a huge resonance by the sorts of things that are taught in our ceremonies with the younger generation. So our first degree ceremony, it teaches us that everybody is born equal, but some of those people do better than others. And it's the job of those people who've done well to remember those who've done less well. That's where our fundamental belief in charity comes from. The second degree is all about improving yourself. You make yourself a better person, and there's a huge amount of that going around at the moment. And the third degree really is a universal truth. You have but one life. Live it well and be remembered for the right reasons. These are fundamentals that have served us well for 3 centuries, and I think they're equally valid to society today.
All right, very, very briefly, if you would, please. You've got 2 female-only lodges. Why not have mixed-sex lodges?
No, there's 2 Grand Lodges for women within the United Kingdom, and we're the Grand Lodge for the men within the United Kingdom. And there are mixed lodges that take men and women, so there's a choice. If you want to do it with the boys, you can. If you want to do it with the girls, you can. If you want to be in a mixed lodge, then you can.
All right, thanks for correcting me on that. David Staples, very good to talk to you. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me on.